Hi, welcome to my video blog. So today we will explore other arts that portray 20th century musical style like chants, electronic, jazz, and avant-garde. So let's start with chants.
Hashtag chants, hashtag music, or hashtag aleatoric music is music where some element of the music is left to chance. This might be using chords, dice, computer generator, mathematical formulas, liaching, or other methods to make musical decisions. In fact, the word aleatoric comes from the Latin word alea, meaning dice. Musical dice games have been known for centuries, including a famous example attributed to no other but Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. According to the instruction, this musical dice game or musicalities where first skill allows anyone to compose without the least knowledge of music. So much German Walzer of Schleifer has won pieces by throwing a certain number with two dice.
So that's chants music. So the second is electronic. Let's go. Electronic music is music that employs electronic musical instrument, digital instrument, or circuitry-based music technology. A distinction can be made between sound produced using electromechanical means, electroacoustic music, and that produced using electronics only. Electromechanical instruments have mechanical elements such as strings, hammers, and electric elements such as magnetic pickups, power amplifiers, and loudspeakers. Example of electromechanical sound producing devices include the tel, harmonium, Hammond organ, electric piano, and electric guitar, which are typically made loud enough for performers and audiences to hear with an instrument, amplifier, and speaker cabinet. Pure electronic instruments do not have vibrating strings. Hammers or other sound-producing mechanism devices such as the theremin, synthesizer, and computer can produce electronic sounds. The first electronic devices for performing music were developed at the end of the 19th century. And shortly afterward, Italian futurists explored sounds that had not been considered musical during the 1920s and 1930s. Electronic instruments were introduced and the first composition for electronic instruments were made. By the 1940s, magnetic audio tape allowed musicians to tape sounds and then modify them by changing the tape speed or direction, leading to the development of electroacoustic tape music in the 1940s in Egypt and France. Music on created in Paris in 1948 was based on the editing together recorded fragments of natural and industrial sounds. Music produced solely from electronic generators was first produced in Germany in 1953. Electronic music was also created in Japan and the United States beginning in the 1950s. An important new development was the advent of computers to compose music. Algorithmic composition with computers was first demonstrated in the 1950s, although algorithmic composition per se without a computer had occurred much earlier. For example, Mozart's musicalities were first shown. In the 1960s, live electronics were pioneered in America and Europe. Japanese electronic musical instrument began influencing the music industry, and Jamaican dub music emerged as a form of popular electronic music. In the early 1970s, the monophonic minimoog synthesizer and Japanese drum machine helped popularize the synthesized electronic music. In the 1970s, electronic music began to have a significant influence on popular music with the adoption of polyphonic synthesizer, electronic drums, drum machines, and turntables. Through the emergence of genres such as disco, krautrock, new wave, synth-pop, hip-hop, and EDM. In the 1980s, electronic music became more dominant in popular music, with a greater reliance on synthesizers and the adoption of programmable drum machines such as the Roland DR808 and bass synthesizers such as the TB303. In the early 1980s, digital technologies for synthesizers, including digital synthesizers such as the Yamaha DX7, became popular, and a group of musicians and music merchants developed the Musical Instrument Digital Interface (MIDI). Electronically produced music became popular by the 1990s because of the advent of affordable music technology. Contemporary electronic music includes many varieties and ranges from experimental art music to popular forms such as electronic dance music. Pop electronic music is most recognizable in its form and more connected with the mainstream than preceding forms which were popular in niche markets. And number 3 is jazz music. Let's go! Jazz is a music genre that originated in the African American communities of New Orleans, Louisiana, United States in the late 19th century and 20th centuries. With its roots in blues and ragtime since the 1920s jazz age, it has been recognized as a major form of musical expression in traditional and popular music linked by the common bands of African American and European American musical parentage. Jazz is characterized by swing and blue notes, complex chords, call and response, vocals, polyrhythms, and improvisation. Jazz has roots in West African cultural and musical expression and in African American music tradition. And the last but not the least, the avant-garde. Let's go. Avant-garde. It's 1952 and you are very excited to attend a concert of new music. First, there are some pieces by Stravinsky and Melhod. They are lovely works. Next on the program is something called 4333 by John Cage. Curious, you pay close attention to your utter surprise. No one plays a note. The entire piece is silence. The audience is outraged. Some even boo. How could this be music? Welcome to the world of the avant-garde. Avant-garde is French for advance guard or vanguard. Avant-garde music is on the cutting edge and challenges expectations. Term is typically used to describe the musical styles that evolved after 1945, sometimes referred to as post-World War II music. There are numerous branches of the avant-garde movement. We will look at the most prominent one.